Hello everyone, Salim here. How you doing? Let me get my webcam on. Uh, I've done this 100 times more. Share my webcam, and I still have to look for that icon. Cannot find it. Um, so welcome everyone. And I was just kind of thinking, I use GoToWebinar, as you know, for these webinars. And now it's set up that when I start the broadcast, it automatically records it. And earlier on, when I was doing the webinars, I would have to write, I would have to make a sticky, right? Make a note to press the start recording button. And you don't know how many times that I would forget. And then I'm like, oh no, I forgot. And then there were people who missed the thing and they'd be asking for it. And I'm like, all right, I gotta now record by myself and record the whole thing again. So as I was looking for the recording button and just making sure, hey, the recording has started, that idea or that thought went in my head that, wow, it was so painful to have to do that. Good. How's everyone doing? Hello, Patty. How are you? I hope it's nicer and warmer in Florida than it is here. It's like 30 degrees in New Jersey, and on Friday I will be in Florida for the rest of the year, and so definitely looking forward to warmer weather for a couple of days, and then we're going to the cabins in wherever, Georgia. We're going to be in Georgia, north part of Georgia or somewhere in a cabin. All right, how's everyone doing, and why is everyone so quiet? No one's like, if you're kind of just jumping on, just say hello or something so I know you can hear me and you can see me and all that. Please do that. So I'm assuming, yeah, you guys can all hear me. All right, cool, awesome. Scott, how are you? And Patty says, chilly 53 in Florida today. Oh my goodness, how do you live there, Patty? 53 degrees. Gosh. Brian, good morning. Denny, hello. Susan, Scott says 20 degrees here. Hey, Ray, good. And there's more of you, so kind of just say hello as you're coming into the room. For accountants, tax professionals, CPAs, enrolled agents, December is the time to prep for what comes around in the new year, which is preparing for tax season. It's a big thing, 3 months, 4 months, and I want to get you started on thinking about the kinds of things you wanna do. So that's going to be the teaching aspect of what I'm going to share with you. And so very quickly, the agenda is some housekeeping stuff. Teaching segment will go through your wins, things that that you're proud of, accomplishments you've had, forward movement that you've made in the last week, in the last couple of weeks. We'd love for you to share that, and the projects you're working on, and then what do you need help with. So 1 hour, it's going to be fast-paced and interactive. So we'd love to kind of keep that an open dialogue, right? So we can just have fun and learn, and you get full value from your investment or your time here. All right, so coaching roundtables, this is kind of what this is. For GPG's coaching day, early January, you guys have the dates. I'll share them, what they are. You know them better, but I don't want to make a mistake. But you should have received an email, right? So January 7th and 8th is when the coaching days are, and then dinner the night before. If you can join us for dinner, that'd be awesome. So try and come in that afternoon, so you can relax and chill out and all that stuff. We'll have dinner together, and then the next day will be jam-packed. I'm really excited about it, and looking forward to seeing all of you. What else? Annual retreat, I mentioned that. I'm just going to put my foot on do not disturb. Annual retreat, more to come on that. June time spent, 3rd week in June. It's going to be something fabulous for all for coaching members. And then the new resource, CPA Practice Max, that I shared information on. You guys should have access to that. Every quarter, or like, every 3 months, we have a live training webinar. And so we've got a special guest that's coming in on in January. So that's coming, and Kimberly will let you know the dates and so forth. So the Genius framework, you've seen this. This is not new to you, but this is a framework that I use in my own practice, and then helping other folks like yourself. The 3 areas you want to pay attention to: client interaction, championship team, streamline operation to create your lifestyle practice, and then the 9 practice accelerators. So what I wanted to share with you guys in terms of preparing for tax season, we're going to cover several, we're going to cover all these 3 areas, and we're going to do it in the context of tax season, preparing for tax season, which is the next slide here. Preparing for a successful tax season, I've got like 4 or 5 steps that I want to go through with you. So this first one is step 1, and you can read it right there. Make a list of all the potential problems you could face that will affect revenues, profits, client experience, team experience, your own sanity. And so first step is to reflect back in previous years of what are the things that got in the way, that made it not the best tax season, because we then will find the solutions. But let's create the list of problems, and you can do this with yourself, ideally with a few key members, and then get everyone involved in identifying what are the potential problems that could happen that are going to affect a few key areas in your practice. So from a standpoint of revenues and profits, what are some problems? Not charging the right fees, or scope creep coming into place, right? So everything to do with fees could be a problem that's going to affect your top line, and it's going to affect your bottom line. What's going to affect your bottom line is also going to be time spent, right? So that's a problem. Too much time spent on a project, on a tax return, or whatever it may be, right? So those are potential problems, right? Not charging the right fees, too much time spent on a project, on a tax return, and so forth. And you may list out other things. I just quickly created this slide, right? So you're looking at it from a standpoint of, hey, what are all the potential problems that can happen that are going to affect the revenues and that are going to affect profits? Second area is client experience. What are the potential problems that are going to lower your client's experience with your firm? So turnaround time will affect it. Yeah, if you've got a very long turnaround time, that's a problem, right? And so you're looking at it from that standpoint. Poor service, being rushed, and things along those lines. What else? What other problems could happen with client experience? And actually what I'm going to do is, why don't we brainstorm right now and get you guys to be thinking about what are the potential problems, and let's get a full list of these things. So let's go back to revenues and profits. So I talked about fees here. If you're not charging the right fees, and if you're spending too much time, let me go through this list, and then we'll come back to it from the first thing, and do that. How's that? Let me just kind of give you a lay of the land, and we'll come back and start working and identifying what other problems do you see potentially happening in any one area. So revenues and profits, we got that. Client experience, I talked about that. Team experience, what are the problems you've experienced with your team? Bottlenecks, if your team, they've got so much work and they're stuck somewhere, and it's a difficult, tough project, and they're stuck with that, and that's kind of, they can get to the other stuff. So that's something that I came across as that could be, that would really cause a lot of stress and anxiety and stress for that team member. What else? Working too much, long hours, your team not getting along with each other, right? So these are some of your team problems. Growth, Lack of new clients. Your practice does not grow during like the best time in the year. So you've got lack of new clients coming in, or you've got, you're not upselling existing clients. If you've got existing clients and you're not getting them into a different program, a program or a service package that they need, then that could be a problem you're having, is, not providing the full solution to your clients. So now let's go one by one and share with us what other problems, in addition to what I shared, that you see here. And I need a pen here. What other problems are you seeing that are not listed here? And take a moment and share that, so that we'll have a more complete list of what are the potential problems that can happen during tax season for you. We're not talking about solutions yet. We're just talking about, hey, let's get it down on paper. What are the things that are going to get in the way, things that are going to make it stressful, things that are going to affect the revenues, the net profits, things that will get in the way of providing clients a 5-star service. All right. And folks, you may add this to your list, right? So as I'm sharing this, or, as you guys, don't see the comments that are coming in, but feel free to write these. So Mayumi saying team problems, billing and collections, too late in sending in bills. Okay, great one. So cash flow, cash flow is accounts receivable, high accounts receivable. That's a problem. Good one there, Mayumi. If that's been a problem in the past, then let's get that on the list. Mayumi saying other problems, billing and collection too late. Oh, that kind of repeated itself there. Harry saying breakdown of procedures. And how is that a problem, Harry? Breaking down the procedures. How would that show up during tax season? Mayumi saying other problems is accounting is not done, then we cannot complete the tax return. So that's going to be absolutely. So that's getting in the way of turnaround time, client experience, right? Turnaround time is going to be really great, high. There's going to be so many extensions, Mayumi. So here, your client experience, you can say too many extensions, right? That would be a problem, is when you're doing extensions because their accounting is not done, or you're doing things the last minute, right? So that's a problem. If tax returns are getting done in the very last minute, or you're filing extensions. So let's get that as a problem. Patty saying, what if a staff leaves unexpectedly? Awesome, good, excellent, excellent. Love that, Patty. What if a staff person leaves unexpectedly? That's a problem that you want to anticipate and be ready if that were to happen. Susan saying not having processes in place. And so how's that coming as a problem, Susan? How's that affecting? Let's look at it from a standpoint of problems. How does that show up as a negative thing? Victor saying scope creep, awesome. That's part of revenues and profits. Huge. Scope creep is such a big thing in our industry, and I feel we need to be aware of it. Your entire team needs to be aware of it, of additional fees. I mean, I just had my weekly meeting, and I think we identified like $10,000 of scope creep right in that meeting, of things that are beyond, and it's just somebody, the team person who's working with that client and being aware of it and bringing, saying, hey, This is scope creep, and this is how I've packaged it, and this should be 31 or whatever, $3,200 in additional fees. And then there was another one that was like 2,500 in additional fees, right? Just from this morning, scope creep in play here. All right, Scott saying we've just had issues of not identifying rejected e-filing, resulting in not filing on time, resulting in penalties for clients that you have to take care of. Awesome, that's a problem. I think everyone identified with that one. You know, identifying rejected e-filing. So get that down, folks. If this is real for you, then get that. Mayumi, you and I spoke earlier, I think a month or so back. I know this was something that you were very distressed about. You know, you identified one or two files that hadn't been e-filed, and you thought they'd been e-filed. And so this happens with many firms, right? So you just wanna identify it at this step one. That's kind of where we are in terms of prepping for tax season. Susan saying for workflow. So Susan, your comment earlier was, what was it? Not having processes in place for workflow. And what is, oh, here, staff all doing things differently when there are no processes. And so, yeah, that's a problem. It cuts into, what is that? How does it affect you? Is it profits? If it's affecting your profit because it's taking too long, or it's affecting the client experience, then yeah, absolutely. Look at it from a standpoint of, again, what does that mean in terms of a problem? How is that showing up when you don't have the processes or the workflow? I mean, in all likelihood, things are not being done efficiently, right? Things are going in a loop somewhere, or there could be a step or two that could be cut that we don't need, right? And whenever we reduce a step, that could mean more efficiency. So look at your workflow, or lack of it, lack of a workflow, or lack of a process, resulting in lower efficiency. Slower bookkeeping turnaround. Before that, Brian, I didn't see yours. Bottleneck, creating a great process for tax prep procedure for remote employees, creating a great process. And so Brian, what does that mean? How's bottleneck? How's that a bottleneck? Creating a great process for tax prep procedure for remote employees. What's not having a procedure doing? Too long, I guess, right? Similar in terms of not having a process in place or a workflow. It's going to affect your efficiency. It's going to result in mistakes or whatever, right? Scott saying slower bookkeeping turnaround time. Yeah, definitely. I mean, business tax returns are dependent on accurate, complete financial statements. So the problem is when bookkeeping takes too long. So that's great. Financial statement is not ready till later in the season. That's a problem. Good. Harry saying the procedures that guide the tax return from receiving to finalizing are not followed, and this causes delays in the preparation. Files getting mixed up. Awesome. Beautiful. Perfect. Susan saying staff all does things differently when there are no I read that one. Brian says it seems our turnaround time for remote employees is not efficient. Good. Yeah. Let's get that down is a potential problem. So this was great. Folks, you have the list of what you see on the slide plus what I was sharing with you from what from what the team has shared right here. And so you get a complete list of these potential problems, and then once you've got that, then step 2 is meet with your team or team members to discuss solutions to each one. So just from the ones I had shared in the previous slide, like for fees, what's the solution for fees, right? How are you going to alleviate the problem of charging low fees? So the solution is let's revisit fees. Let's look at fees, our current fee schedules, or let's look at fees we charged to our clients last year, or let's look at fees, not or, but and let's look at fees that the difficult clients, the clients we didn't feel we made money on, the 20% of those low hanging, the lower clients, quality clients that were not profitable from a profitability standpoint, let's look at those. Identify the 5 or 10 clients that you feel you did not make money on, right? So it could be several solutions related to fees. Time spent on a project, on a tax return. Now let's look at it that there's too much time spent. That's the problem. What's the solution to too much time being spent on a tax return, or too much time spent on accounting? And then look at it from a solution standpoint. Is how do we make this more efficient? Why is there so much time being spent on a tax return when it should take 3 hours? It's taking 6 hours. Like, what's going on, or whatever, right? You get my point. Why are tax returns taking so long? Tax prep, and then you'll come, you kind of create the solution. Receiving the documents is time consuming, or getting missing information gets time consuming. So then you're looking at it from a solution standpoint. How do you prep the client to do that? Business tax returns taking too long. Why is that? Maybe it's financial statements are not complete, or maybe there's a lot of going back and forth. The breakdown of the financial statements, key things like officers' compensations not broken down and so forth. Maybe that's, having to go and ask and get that information again from the accountant is time consuming. So kind of look at it now from a solution standpoint. Client experience, your turnaround time. Why is the turnaround time so long? What can you do to reduce the turnaround time from the time you get all the information to the time that the tax return is complete? What are the steps there? What are the things that are going, in between there? What can be done from a solution standpoint to expedite that, to reduce the time, and so forth? So you're looking at each of these problems when you're brainstorming with your team and saying, all right, what are ways to do that? This is fun, exciting stuff, right? You're looking at it now from like, hey, we got the problems. Let's think out of the box and see what can be ways to alleviate that. And so that's step 2. Any questions? Make sense so far? Give me a yeah or a nay. Something you guys can do, will do. Give me a yeah or a nay. Making sense before I move on? All right. Yes, 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 makes perfect sense. Yes, low yield clients will be addressed. Totally correct there. Makes sense. Cool. Awesome. Good. Good. Then we've got step 1 problems. We got a list of problems, potential problems. We're thinking ahead, right? This is like being progressive. We're looking ahead and saying, hey, before we get into tax season, let's go prepared. So step 1 is, what are the potential problems? Step 2 is, what are the solutions for these problems? What can we do ahead of time so we can, that would help alleviate that problem? Then step 3, next slide, is meet with your team or key members to discuss execution. Now, you may do that when you're going through the solution, or depending on how long that meeting is, you can come back and say, all right, let's just first take a quick look at our problems, and now let's come to it and stay, and then our solutions, and then how are we going to execute? What would be execution? So you could do that as a separate step 3, or you can do that with step 2, right? So now just because you've identified the solution doesn't mean that it's going to be executed, right? So execution is like fees. Who are the bottom 10% of our clients, the squeaky wheels, who started calling us from February 1st up until April 15th and paid us $400, right? Those types of clients were the ones that were not happy with their fee, and they'll come back, and like just kind of identify them, and you know what the solution is, but now you know what does it look like in terms of outreach to them and letting the client know ahead of time, right? So the more you can have those conversations with clients ahead of time, the better it is, the stronger your position is, because you're not just waiting for the client to send you that paperwork and you're going to do that, or then you're going to, then you're going to do it, and it's going to be April 1st, and you won't have time to have that conversation with the client before you start the project. Have it in advance. Have it in January, that's saying, hey, we're reviewing, prepping for tax season. We worked with you last year, whatever that may look like, but have those conversations in January than on April 1st, because you won't have the time. And so this is what step 3 is about. You're meeting with your team or key members to discuss execution. And step 4 is easy. It's you checking in periodically throughout tax season, and you're celebrating along the way. Yeah, you've got the problems, the solutions, execution, and you're celebrating the execution and how it's working, and where are things that are not working as well that you can tweak, right? And that's what step 4 is. And that is what I'm doing in my firm, and this is something that can really help you guys in your own firm. So well ahead of time. This is stuff you're doing in December or early January, but see if you can get a meeting in to kind of start the process of talking about what tax season is going to look like, what are potential problems and solutions, and so forth. Any questions on what I talked about here? Anything you want to add in? Chime in. In addition to whatever was shared here. Give you guys a few seconds to do that, to type in. All right, 2 comments have come in so far. Victor saying, I've had much progress with practice ignition for automating the engagement letter updating process. So had a one-on-one with Victor a week or 2 back, and he's using practice ignition and finding it useful. So that's a resource for anyone else here who wants to consider it. Susan saying, we have a tax planning meeting each year, and ours is tomorrow. We have both admin and tax staff in the meeting and have a planned out agenda. Great, good stuff, good. Victor saying engagement letters are almost fun. Got you. All right, good. Let's move on, guys. Now this is what's fun, what's coming up next, Victor. This one here, what are your wins? I want to hear from everyone. What's been going well for you? What are things that you've made forward progress on? Take a few seconds and share that. What are your wins? Small ones, big ones, medium-sized ones, things that have been a step forward. Few more seconds. All right. If you're typing in, and I want you to be typing because you haven't, that means if you're still typing, that means I haven't seen it appear. And I want you to continue doing that. And in the meantime, I'll share wins because I see some awesome stuff here. So Neil and Darren's, here it's Neil, saying Initor Global was taken delivery of the first batch of bookkeeping today. Good stuff, cool. Scott saying I have 2 new bookkeeping clients starting in January. I also completed reading Jason Bowman's big tax resolution book. Good stuff, cool. Brian saying 3 new clients signed up yesterday for about 2,000 per month and exceeded our revenue goal for the 4th time this year. We keep resetting goals and our goal and exceeding it. Beautiful, right? Happy to read that. And good size clients, my goodness. 2,000 per month, that's a $24,000 a year client. Man, you're on your way here. Jeanette saying, we attended the Atticus conference, came away with 23 leads and have already started signing up some new clients. That's great news there. The conversion's happening from lead gen to lead conversion here. So that's beautiful. Cool stuff. Good. Your follow-up's working, Jeanette, that we talked about last week or so. Victor saying, redoing our engagement letters are driving revenues in typically a slow month. I'm including tax planning and projections as included, but increasing as much as double the price normally charged or was given away for free. Nice, Victor. Good stuff, man. You're on the right track with that. Susan saying, already added 2 new CPAs, transition about half our payroll to ADP for 2020. Good. Great, Susan. And you're on your way as well with your wins. Danny saying, signed up 2 new monthly business clients last week, picked up the tax prep for 2 businesses and meeting with the owner of 7 businesses tomorrow for monthly services. My goodness. Good stuff. Jeanette saying, we hired an additional accountant who started, oh good, who started Monday. That's great. Super. Hey, who hasn't shared? Would love to. I think everyone did. Hey, Ray, Mayumi, Marcel, Harry. Sorry, I'm calling you guys out. Share your wins, things that have gone well for you, things you work hard. What's gone well? Think from that standpoint now. Forward movement you've made in your practice. Sometimes we don't see that, and we should. We gotta recognize that because that's just great energy to start with. To be aware, and our team needs it as well to kind of work on the stuff that's not working, but recognizing for the things that are. I think that creates a nice balance there. Michael saying, all right, now here more coming. Thank you guys. Michael saying, process of updating the company website. Good. Ready for tax season, right? Mayumi saying, my team member Andrew passed CPA exam and he's so good. My team is growing. Nice, beautiful, Mayumi. And you've got it. He's happy too. So you had a good conversation with him. So that's great. Harry saying, we will go over things in our one. Sure, absolutely. Good. So this was wins. And next, what do you want to work on? What are things you want to work on? And really in the next slide as well, what do you need help with? Things you're working on before the year end, which is around the corner. What's today? The 18th. Christmas next week. Holiday stuff next Wednesday. So yeah, next few days before you finish off for the holidays. What are things you wanna work on? Things you need help with? Questions you have? Looking at my calendar here on the side. Oh, you guys are like fast here. Ray, okay, good. Ray shared the win, and I just see it now. Revenues up 20%. Local listing have been corrected, started on website updates. Super, good. Jeanette saying we're working on goal setting for 2020 with our staff. Good. And of course, when we meet for coaching day, this is going to be something we're, going to plan out as well. So kind of keep it a little open in that, whatever plan you guys come with, bring it to coaching day so that you can improvise it, or you can add to whatever you create with your team. Neil saying next week we will be spending time on finishing procedure documentation. Good. Scott saying planning for the tax season. Question: when do others send their tax organizers to their clients? So would love to get input from everyone here. Scott's question: when do others send their tax organization to their clients? When do you send your tax organizer? If you do, I don't know. Some folks don't. So folks, when do you send yours? If you do. Mayumi, still I need to keep working on leadership, and my team needs support from you for AR and accounting. Awesome, good. Ray saying working on engagement letters and finishing website, hiring a part-time receptionist. Yeah, good time to do that now. So January, January first week or so, they're ready to go. Brian saying entering all of our workflow processes into our Clarity Practice Management and getting everyone using it. Good. Harry saying new advertising program, calling and booking appointments for taxis and website marketing. Good stuff. Mayumi saying need to update my website. Susan, changes to website, updates, onboarding of new clients. Susan, I know one of the things you were working on is the messaging. Hope that's going well. Looking forward to feedback when we meet in January. Ray saying, win, finally had our first staff meeting. Good. Danny saying, working on switching our payroll clients from QuickBooks Online to Patriot software. Hope to go live Jan 1st. Preparing to send our tax organizers after Jan 1st. So Scott, that's your first answer there with tax organizers. Victor saying we will keep on adding planning services to our offerings. We are partnering with a CPF firm. I'm sorry, with a CFP firm, and you had shared that, Victor, when you and I had talked last week. And I'm getting my PFS to be able to provide more personal financial planning to our business clients. Great. Brian saying second week of January. So Scott, tax organizers, second week of January. Jeanette saying we try to send organizers engagement letters the first week of January. Good. Neil saying we went to a digital tax organizer and it is sent out twice as part of our email list. It saved money and a ton of time. That's a great idea. We went to a digital tax organizer. Neil, any information on that? What does that mean, a digital tax organizer? Does it mean that you're getting a PDF from your tax program and then you're emailing it to the clients as an attachment? Just, a little bit visibility on that, I think will be useful to everyone. All right. Good stuff. In terms of the things you're working on in the next few days. Great. This is a lot of like working on it, guys. I don't know if you noticed that, right? You're the practitioner who's getting the balance, the balance between working in it and working on it, right? You're thinking ahead for tax season, which is a foreign concept to many firms. You know, tax season for them really starts with clients coming in. There's no time for planning, prepping for it, the kinds of things you guys are working on. And just from here, I mean, you know, the types of goals you're setting, it's pretty amazing. It's getting close to the 30-60-10 rule, right? 30% of the time spent on high-end technical work, 60% of the time spent on sales and marketing, client nurturing, growing the practice, and 10% of your time spent with team development. Yeah. So not the 30% on high-end technical work, it's 30% or getting close to that instead of 90% or 95% and so forth. Scott saying, I'm working on electronically sending out the organizers, one of my rocks. So good. Electronically, Scott, what does that mean? Electronically sending out organizers? Kind of the same question I asked Neil. Is that a PDF and then you're doing that? Or is it something from your text program? Are you able to email clients, the organizers? That'd be great to know that. All right. What else? Any other questions? We've got about 15 minutes. Before we finish off, and before I ask you your biggest takeaway, which is the next slide, I want to make sure that if you have a question, you have the opportunity to ask it. What's your burning question? What's something that you're thinking about, not sure how to go about with it, whether you should go about with it, whether you should do it? Is there a question in your mind? This is a great time to ask now. For the GPGs that are joining us in January for coaching day, anything in your mind that you feel we should cover during our time together? Feel free to share that. What would you like to make sure we cover during that day? All right, let's see some comments coming in, and then we'll go to the next slide. So in terms of electronic, I asked the question, and Scott said, electronic text organizers, he said, our text program has a portal to transfer documents back and forth to clients. Scott, what text program are you using? I believe it's Drake, I may be wrong. Brian saying, love the idea of sitting down and listing out all potential problems that may come up during tax season and get a game plan on how to overcome that. So Brian, you were a step ahead with your biggest takeaway. So thanks. Neil saying, in the body of the email, we spell out the pertinent data for tax season. So this was how they get the electronic text organizers. So they're sending it out in the body of the email. We spell out the pertinent data for tax season. Attached to the email are links for the client to download the engagement letter, FAQ list, and a generic organizer. If they want a custom organizer, they can request it and we can email it to them. Very few of our clients ask for a custom organizer. For those clients that request one this year, we will reach out and offer some expanded services to those clients. That's great, man. Good stuff. Thanks for sharing that, Neil. It's an email. It's an email with downloadable links. And I think with the FAQ, I really like that as well, of what you're doing there. Michael's saying, what revenue or number of tax returns is the average time to hire the next person to add to the team? So Michael, if it's just you, I feel, hiring a part-time help on the admin side would be a great addition. Assuming if you've already got an admin person, then you're looking to hire a tax preparer. So it's like, at what point, how many tax returns do you want to do? Would you like to prepare? And if you're not there yet, then you don't need to hire a tax preparer. But if you are getting to a place where you've got more than you can handle as a preparer, then then get a part-time tax preparer, a senior person, somebody who's retired, perhaps somebody who's a stay-at-home mom who's done this kind of work before. Get somebody on a part-time basis, on a test basis, right? So kind of be open to exploring that. Things that you may not have done last tax season, you're bringing them on board, and they may not be the most productive their first tax season with you, but you're getting you're getting the ball in motion there. Victor saying, I need help with pricing for planning services and what could be the scope of the offering. Good. This would be got it for coaching day. This is a great topic for us to mastermind together. Scott uses Drake. So Drake's got a portal and you can send organizers using that portal. So this client communication is what he had said. Ray saying, I did a 30% increase on tax returns last year. Thoughts on keeping same price or doing a price increase this year? Good. That's a nice increase depending on where you are. Ray, my inclination would be that you're still underpricing. Most people are. And so that's where you would go. And if you're not going with a price increase, then identify your top clients who would want more services. I think kind of like what Neil mentioned there. The ones that will need more services, identify those and have conversations with them. In January, cover the location of the June retreat. What is that, Scott? Oh, talk about the location of the June retreat. We'll do. I don't know if we'll have that, but we may. I know a team member is working on that. So who knows? Yeah, we may know that where our June retreat's going to take place. But you may be saying, my question, how can I catch up accounting? How can I support? And then she says, I have 3 admin persons. Are 3 too many? One is receptionist, second is customer service, third is AR, and still billing is behind and missing some invoices. Yeah, 3 is too many, Mayumi. Even though your operation is different, Mayumi has a niche practice in Miami, close to 7 figures, and working with Japanese executives and Japanese business owners, entrepreneurs. So I mean, your operation is different, from a standpoint of language and interpretation and all that with non-Japanese clients. So, but generally, I'd say 3 is a bit, 3 is on the higher side, although your AR person's new. So that takes into consideration. Neil is saying, we want to finalize our business services bundle packages when we are in Newark. Awesome, good. Love to give you feedback on that. Mayumi saying, is it too close to tax time to change team members such as termination and addition? Yeah. December. Look, if somebody's a bad apple and you need to get rid of them, you need to get rid of them, right? It's not the ideal time, but it's better than February. So, Mayumi, hopefully that helps you. Victor saying, biggest takeaway, to have a team meeting to avoid biggest pitfalls of tax season that we mentioned today. Good, good. Get your team involved. Super, good. Good stuff there, guys. I feel like my throat is drying. All right, let's finish off in a few minutes with your biggest takeaway. Some of you guys shared that, but just, yeah, biggest takeaway, Victor, thank you for sharing yours. Team meeting, avoid biggest pitfalls, getting your team involved. So what I was thinking here is, I mean, tech season's like a big game, right? It's one of those, a big basketball game. It's one of your favorite basketball teams going for a big game, or your football teams and so forth. And they're getting ready. They're getting prepared as a team. Getting ready as a team to do that. So the mindset you want to have going into tech season is, how can you have, you individually as a person, how can things be easy for you? And if the team is engaged and if they're taking ownership of working to make it successful, that's lesser on your shoulders. And that's what you want. You want the help of the team members to carry as much weight as possible, and for you to carry as little weight as possible. All right. Boy, lots of comments here. You guys are like pretty incredible. Brian saying, in January, learn how others are pricing tax returns. I do it sort of hourly and sort of on complexity, but don't have a good system for pricing. Good, Brian. Pricing is going to be a topic that I definitely want to go more in depth when we're meeting, because that in itself is like a ton of money for each and every one of you. Neil saying, we got rid of a subpar staff member this month and it has been great with the replacement. Good. Scott saying, the importance of identifying potential problems and then identifying processes to combat the problems. Good, Susan. Be prepared and identify all possible issues in advance to make the season less stressful. Danny saying, the importance of thinking about the potential problems in advance with plans to handle those problems if they happen. Good, 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 good. Fantastic, great. Anything else, folks, before we finish off? Oh, Patty, sorry, one more. If you're typing, last chance, last 20, 30 seconds, whatever. Patty saying, planning for tax season will help us be prepared for and minimize unexpected circumstances and will help to ensure better season for all of us. Good. So what I want to hear from everyone, come April 16th, is that you had a pretty awesome season, right? Revenues were up, profit was up, client experiences were what you've never had before. Clients were ecstatic. You got a bunch of reviews and testimonials from clients, a bunch of referrals from the clients. You really were making a difference for them, from your team members. They're all working harmoniously and working well as a team, and they're productive and they're efficient. And you personally, you went through tax season like it was a smooth ride for you, like it's never been. It was just enjoyable, right? So that's kind of in my mind, that's my wish for you. And in order to get to that, it's getting into it, starting it, being as prepared as you can. So that's kind of what we talked about in the teaching segment. So with that said, folks, I want to wish you guys all an amazing holidays, whatever you're celebrating in the next couple of weeks. Wish you success and safety and health, rather. And I'll see you soon in January, probably, for the GPGs, and we'll talk next month. All right. Adios. Bye.